My name's Paul Lyons. I'm a watercolour painter, and during the COVID-19 lockdown I've decided to try to paint one picture a day for my own amusement and for your amusement as well, I guess. I thought I'd start out with an introduction to the techniques that I use for painting, which are not completely standard. So, well, the fact that I use watercolour paper is pretty standard. This is a quarter sheet, which many painters use. So a standard sheet of watercolour is 22 inches by 32 inches, or 56 centimetres by 76 centimetres. And sometimes I use full-size sheets, sometimes I use half-size sheets, and at the moment I seem to be using quarter sheets for no particularly obvious reason. For this painting I will be using these four brushes. So this is a Hake brush, or a Hake, a flat brush, very cheap in this case, about $12 New Zealand dollars. A squirrel mop, which comes to a nice point and holds a lot of paint, and a very soft brush, so it's very easy to change the shape of the tip of that brush. A couple of sable brushes. This is a Winsor & Newton sable brush, and this is Isabey. So it's Isabey is the name of the manufacturer, and it's made of Kolinsky sable. So Kolinsky sable is the Rolls Royce of the brush hairs, and costs the earth. So I only have one of those. So that's the brushes, and I have huge number of other brushes. So one of the things that I tend to do is to go into a paint supply store, an artist supply store, and think, oh yes, that looks like an interesting brush. But anyway, so I don't really need anything like as many as that. I paint on a sheet of acrylic plastic. So this plastic has the desirable property that when you wet the paper and put it down on the sheet, it tends to stick to the sheet, which means that it doesn't buckle or cockle when you re-wet it when you're painting on it. And also the acrylic sheet can be used as you can see here, it's absolutely filthy with paint. In fact, I don't think I used very much paint from my general supply. I think most of the paint that I used during this painting episode was what was already on the sheet of plastic. But just to show you what I do use, I mix up my paints with water and put them into jars. So I don't use the traditional palette that you're probably familiar with. I find it's much more convenient to have the paint pre-mixed, and it sits there, and I don't know, maybe a jar full will last me 2 or 3 months. And people say that paint gets mould, but I've never had that happen to me, so it's not a big problem. Another thing that is perhaps slightly unusual is that normally paint is supplied in these 5ml tubes, and because I'm cheap, I buy it in 37ml tubes if I can. You can't get all the colours in those size tubes, but and obviously they cost more than the 5ml tubes, but per milliliter they're significantly cheaper, and I can make up a big amount at a time. So that's probably as much as I need to say as background. This is the painting that I'll be showing you the evolution of. It's a painting across of the hills, the mountains seen across Lake Tekapo in the South Island of New Zealand, which I took a photograph of when we were down there 2 or 3 years ago. One more thing that I need to tell you is that because I didn't plan on this and I haven't done this before, I don't have any sort of professional setup. This is just my ordinary camera that has various problems which you don't need to concern yourself with. Well, the battery runs out after a few minutes, so I have to splice a number of videos together, The sound quality is not very high because I don't have a proper microphone set up, and because, well, once you've painted something, you can't go back and undo it and start again. So I did this painting in 3 separate videos, and I had the aim and the zoom on the camera right for the first one, but I zoomed in too close on the second one, and I've sort of fixed it for the third one, but it's still not that spectacular. So I apologise for that, and I'll try and do better in the future. Okay, let's get on with the painting, shall we?